What's going on, guys? The Comics Kid 2099 here. Welcome to day 234 of the 365-day graphic novel review challenge. Today, I want to talk to you about The Martian Confederacy by Paige Braddock and Jason McNamara. This book is awesome. That is the best way that I can describe this book. In the brief foreword at the beginning, the artist, Paige Braddock, she talked about how originally she had come up with this idea. There was going to be this kind of redneck guy on Mars, and there was going to be a talking bear, and she just had disparate ideas, but she didn't have a fully formed story. And then she was talking to her friend, Jason McNamara, and then he basically said he would collaborate with her on this story, and he helped create the bad guys, and he helped flesh out the concept that she had started with, and then she drew the book. And she said that originally she had this idea of the Dukes of Hazzard on Mars. And I've never watched the Dukes of Hazzard, so I don't really know if that's an apt description, but I'm going to take Paige Braddock's word for it and say that probably is an apt description. This book has everything that you could ever possibly want in a book. It has a talking bear. It has a redneck on Mars. I don't often like it when reviewers say, look, this has that one thing, you should just go ahead and buy it. But at the same time, talking bear, redneck on Mars, what else could you want? This book is really interesting. I want to talk about the art a little bit. You know how a lot of books are black and white? This book takes the black and white approach, but it is in red and white. Look at that. The whole book is like that, where it's basically just red, black, and white. There's bits of black in there, but it has a very, very heavy use of the color red, which makes a lot of sense because the book is set on Mars, and Mars is the red planet. But this is not an artistic approach that you could get away with in any other book. I like that they are taking the setting that this book has, and they're using that to their advantage artistically. Here's another page here. It does that throughout the entire book. This is another one of those books I could just sit and stare at the pictures all day. The writing is also very good. I really love the writing here. The characters are all very witty, but they also all feel different from each other, which is not an easy thing to accomplish. All these characters, they're all smart and quippy in their own little ways, but they also don't all feel like they are the exact same character with the exact same speech dialogue tendencies. One thing that I like about this book, talking about the story, is that at one point we're getting a little bit of backstory of the world of Mars, and we find out just how far in the future this is set. It's set well over 1,000 years in the future, after humankind was able to colonize Mars and then eventually discard Mars after they were able to usurp all of the resources that they were able to usurp. And at one point it's talking about how the history on Earth had more or less been forgotten, and then some archaeologists found some hidden history tapes, and they were able to find out some of the history of Earth. And we find out that in this universe on Mars, these people see stories like Star Trek and the Planet of the Apes as actual history, and so they think that at one point in the 1980s the apes almost rose up against humankind and almost wiped out humankind, and then eventually William Shatner conquered the stars, so the Shatner is a form of currency that they use. This book is extremely charming, and a lot of times you'll hear someone say that something is charming, and they mean that in kind of a condescending way. They're patronizing the book. I don't mean that in a condescending way. This book is absolutely awesome and adorable. I wish that there was 400 billion other comic books out there like The Martian Confederacy. There is a volume 2. I have not read volume 2 yet, but it is on my list. I am going to be reading it soon as I order a copy. But I really love this book. Highly, highly recommend that you check it out. And I will be checking out volume 2. And if it is a fourth as good as volume 1, I recommend that you guys check it out also. So those are my brief thoughts on The Martian Confederacy. I really like this book. I hope that you guys will as well. In the meantime, I will talk to you guys tomorrow about a different book. And so I hope that you guys liked this video. If you did, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys later. Have a good one.